Blikkiesdorp means tin town. The name comes from about 2,000 one-room structures made of thin tin and zinc sheets. Blikkiesdorp is a temporary relocation area, or TRA, established in 2007 by the City of Cape Town. It's supposed to be a temporary location for people with housing problems, especially homeless families. Blikkiesdorp is 30 kilometres away from the city centre. People have been relocated here from all over Cape Town. They have been told very little about when they will be moved and where the upgraded permanent housing will be. Residents have been moved far away from their communities and central workplaces, many losing work, both formal and informal. In 2015, according to a survey done, 73% of residents had no formal work in the past month. The tin structures house up to 10 people. They have no indoor bathroom, shower or toilet, so on average about 10 people share one outside toilet. The structure has no insulation, meaning it is either extremely hot or very cold. The tin structures are so flimsy that they are easy to break into. The lack of work and income has caused divisions in the TRA as people struggle for resources. Residents would be happy to move, but already they worry that crime and access to transport would be worse in their new location. The foundations of the residents' lives are shaky and insecure, with very little information to organise around and build a future. Without transparency around housing processes and accountability from local government, the residents live in a state of uncertainty. Community dissatisfaction with the living conditions in Blikkiesdorp is high. At the beginning of 2015, ODAC, an organisation which promotes the role of transparency, started working with a coalition of organisations. These included the Right to Know, the Development Action Group, the Legal Resources Centre and Community Law Centre. This was in partnership with the Blikkiesdorp Joint Committee. ODAC's intention was to support the Blikkiesdorp community in their struggle for adequate housing. ODAC assists communities to access quality, credible and useful information.
Blikkiesdorp is die huisie, never. Jy kan nie jou hokkie alleen nog los en miskien oor die pad gaan spaar om iets te gaan koop. En as jy terugkom met iets met jou hokkie gebeur, ingebreek. Die mense wat in die oggende werk toe gaan word gerob. Want ons die laaste wat den plaat toe jy was toe jy gesê ons gaan net 6 maande hier bly. Maar ons bly nou al 7 jaar hier.
During the World Cup, they was taking people like who was living under a bridge in Sea Point. They was taken by the park during the bylaws. Blikkiesdorp was a dumping place.
En hier gaan die mense dood like anything. Die mense gaan regtig dood in die plek. Daarvoor is die plek se naam Post of Evil. Sê maar ek maak jou nou die kant dood, dan kom ek jou hier. Nou daarvoor sê hulle dit Post of Evil. Maar die plare kom die jongens, dit skiet hulle kant. En dan is het wat hier. Om hulle daar my sien, my soek al geskiet uit 3 bullet.
I was born in Elsdorp, Lousebos. From there I moved to Mitchell's Plain. From Mitchell's Plain I moved into Delft. And while in Delft and being on the waiting list and everything, and then we were renting by people, we saw an opportunity on this one specific day where a councillor said that we must invade houses. And we took that opportunity to invade into gateway houses.
1,600 people was evicted out of their houses, the N2 gateway houses. 300 people decided we're going to live on the pavement. We was sleeping open on the road, and then we decided we claim this road for us. And there we was living on the pavement for 2.5 years. The city and provincial, they decided to take us to court. And then we going to court, we was lost the case, and they give us the eviction order to come to Blikkiesdorp.
Toe het ons active geword. Toe het hulle eendag het hulle, hoe kan ek sê, is 'n workshop wat hulle gehad het, but it's like 'n waar jy kyk eintlik hoe gaan die runway wees en watter plekke gaan ge-impact word en so aan.
At the beginning of the campaign, the coalition learned of redevelopment plans for Cape Town International Airport to allow for increased traffic. This impacts Blikkiesdorp directly, even though it's built on government-owned land, because it falls within the perimeter of the airport.
An environmental impact assessment, it says that everything that is living, that is the environment. Right? Now, how can you exclude Blikkiesdorp from that environmental impact assessment? If you exclude human beings, now what do you think of Blikkiesdorp? You know? So there is the trust line between the city and the community. Again, no trust anymore. No? We're not in the way of development. We're not in the way of development. The only thing we say to city or to government or whoever is, listen, if you want to move us into proper houses. Now they want to come and talk about people qualifying and people that don't qualify. You knew in the first place you are putting people here that don't qualify.
3 jaar geleden was daar agreement tussen de airport en the city.
Already they had plans in place where they want to realign the airport. Never ever they came back to this community or to any surrounding community here and say, listen, this is what our plans will be in the next 10 years.
A company called SRK are employed by the Airports Company of South Africa, AXA, to help them consult on the environmental impact assessment for the upgraded runway. SRK held a public meeting in Delft, which the community learned of through the coalition. At this meeting, the community became aware of a recently updated Memorandum of Agreement between the City of Cape Town and AXA.
The SRK team and the AXA team were there to answer questions, on a one-on-one basis. So it's not a big formal meeting where one person asks a lot of questions, but so that individuals feel free to come and speak to us and for us to explain things very simply where we can.
Toe ons hier kom bly, was ons onder die indruk dat die grond wat ons op bly aan die airport behoort. Maar toe het ons 'n vergadering met die airport se mense gehad, Mr. Kloete. Toe sê Mr. Kloete vir ons dat die airport die grond wat van Blikkiesdorp behoort eintlik aan die city.
One of the principles was also to say, how do we make sure that we can accommodate people in the close proximity to the current airport, i.e. on Symphony Way. And then you'll see in the agreement there's an attachment with a map. And in there a design was done to say how can we accommodate so that there's not serious displacement, but also that when there's move into formal housing.
AXA hired SRK to conduct the EIA. And the EIA for the last 3 years excluded Blikkiesdorp. Throughout the 3 years, Blikkiesdorp got into the EIA process just by chance. And you are saying here, you are a neighborly company, responsible company that wants to ensure that all the stakeholders are informed.
Toe het hulle vir ons gesê, Freedom Farm se mense gaan hulle eerste plan mee maak because hulle gaan runways maak. Dit is ons op kom nou, kom met Freedom Farm is nou effek, nou moet Blikkiesdorp ook onmiddellik saam met Freedom Farm gaan.
But having realized that there is a concern, that you did have concerns and you feel you haven't been heard, we have now been open to having a meeting with you when we were in Delft. We took your questions, we spoke to you for 2 hours, we came to Blikkiesdorp last week to speak to you, and we've invited you back here today when you asked us to. So we are doing what we can.
Die city weet al van dit, maar hulle het nog nooit vir ons gesê hulle is besig met die memorandum van agreement, met die planne van die airport in die city. So hulle lieg vir ons, maar hulle praat van meaningful engagement. But hulle het nie meaningful engagement met ons gehad nie.
The community called for transparency for the release of the MOA. It is this pressure that resulted in the approval of the release of the MOA by the Mayor of Cape Town.
Something is not good for me. It's very strange that you guys don't have a document that proves that states that things all into. Because I heard what you said, you do not have any document of this. So the point is I want to know, how can that be that you people have a meeting with the city of Cape Town and not having a document into your position.
That agreement is between the airports company and the city. SRK is not involved with that at all, which is why we don't have a copy. If we asked the airports company for a copy, they would give us a copy. We just don't need it for this EIA process.
The MOA sets out the plan for development of alternative accommodation for the Blikkiesdorp residents. But there seems to be no plan to deal with the increase in noise from the airport that will exceed international guidelines. Over 387,000 people will be affected by excessive noise levels, as well as 177 schools.
As hulle nog 'n runway hier kom sit op die boundary, that means die noise gaan ons meer word, dan sit 65. En dat is te veel vir mense se ore. En die ding wat hulle sê, hulle wil vir Blikkiesdorp ons wat gemove, opper, something way. Nou, as hulle vir ons opper move na something way toe, wat sê hy vir ons? Ons is nog altyd in 'n noise zone. Ek dink aan kinders. Kyk, as ek sit nou, eintlik as ek halfpad eintlik doe.
We recently lost a person who died from this vibration where the electricity totally switched off, and because what happened there is when a plane comes heavily down and your structure vibrate, that electric box totally split.
We are not competent to talk about how you develop housing. We know how to develop airports. But what we said is, as an airport, we have to recognize that we've got neighbors and that they are important for us. So if we have plans for the airport, what happens, and particularly there were 3 areas that worried us. Freedom Farm, and as I said, as a first priority given where it sits on the runway, Malawi Camp, and then there's Blikkiesdorp, which becomes more of an issue, not with this runway or the new runway that they want to build, the second runway, which is somewhere in the future. So we engaged the city leadership and we said we need to find a way forward. The city embraced that and they said for us it's important, and you'll see the spirit of the agreement. It speaks about people, the importance of people and finding quality housing that works, but also allowing the airport to grow so that we can create jobs. So there was then a commitment by the city and us to say, as the airport develops, how will that impact broadly?
Why in 3 years you and then Plato and all of you sitting, making an agreement, but no one did come out to the community and consult with the community. This is what is going to happen in 4 years' time, 2 years' time with Blikkiesdorp.
We came to know of this whole process of airport extending the runway and all of this, and then we came to find out, listen, there's an environmental impact assessment that was done, right? And in that open session also, we came to know that there was a memorandum of agreement where our community and 2 other communities were included in that memorandum of agreement. And as far as we know, right, we were never ever engaged in this whole process.
Now that the MOA is in the public domain, the Joint Committee will engage with the city so that they can explain what it means for the residents.
At this point, when it comes to Blikkiesdorp, it's all dependent, obviously, on what is going to happen with AXA and their plans to develop the runway. And what we've seen this year is the environmental impact assessment that has been running on that. So long term, depending on what AXA does, we might then need to look at relocating certain communities, of which Blikkiesdorp would then potentially be one. So it all really depends at this point as to what happens with the airports company, and then our plans will come dependent on that. But we've had the public meeting where we engage with them. Now going forward, obviously it's very important to talk to communities that are going to be affected. So at the moment there is no particular timeline, and also in terms of where the people would be moved to, we still need to determine the details of that, although we have a general idea of moving them to the Symphony Way area, which has been communicated to them. So at the moment, there's no public participation required. We will obviously talk to them and communicate with them as we need to and as is dictated by the process. However, we're also doing to ensure that they do have information and access to engaging with the city.
Hulle gee nie 'n ja om vir mense nie. Hulle gee in elk geval nie 'n hel om vir ons arme mense nie, want as hulle omgegee het vir ons arme mense, sou ons nie vandag in 'n blik gebly het. Dit is part van waar hulle op die oomblik vir ons baie aggressief maak. Hulle maak dat ons nou begin dinge doen, maar ons nie meer vir hulle trust nie.
Hulle het nog nooit vir ons gesê hulle is besig met die memorandum van agreement, met die planne van die airport in die city. So hulle lieg vir ons.
We got foreigners here that was part of the xenophobic attack that years. They suffered a lot because of that xenophobic attack. They will bluntly say that they won't benefit out of anything.
Yeah.
You know? To me, I'm an African. I'm not just a South African. I'm an African, right? And to me, they are part of Blikkiesdorp. Whatever we get, they must get, right? Because they are part of Blikkiesdorp. At present, about 85% of Blikkiesdorp's people are unemployed. And because of that unemployment, we have lots of crime.
If you phone the police, what does the police? Then they say, okay, they will come. Then they take their hours, or sometimes they don't even come. Yeah. Even the ambulance also, they don't even come into Blikkiesdorp. If you phone them, yeah, maybe someone is stabbed or somebody's in labor. You know what the ambulance will tell you? You as a woman that's pregnant, get me by the first gate or the second gate. They don't want to come into this place.
We said before, when we had other interviews with radio stations and newspapers, and they said, Blikkiesdorp are gonna be a crime-infested area. Because now at night, you can't even sleep. Because you must hear now who is gonna break into your place. Where's the shooting coming from?
Hier gaan ons mense dood. Hier loop die dreine oor. Ah, wat kry ons mense? TP, meningitis.
Die toilet is aan hierdie kant. Ons het al die toilet se probleem ook gerapporteer, because elke keer maak die toilet so, die water loop aanhoudend.
Die is 'n jump vir my kinders. As ek 'n potjie kos maak, het jy ry kan hier in.
Now the community knows the plan for the future, but they still do not know when they will be moved and how they will be affected by the noise. The community is committed to engage with the city on moving and ensuring promises are kept.
Consultation is a fundamental requirement in environmental authorisations involving environmental impact assessments. And if there hasn't been consultation with an affected community, particularly a vulnerable and disadvantaged community like Blikkies, then the resulting authorisation will be irregular and stands to be set aside by a court on review. The fact that a community is temporary does not mean that they do not require to be consulted. The temporary status of communities on the Cape Flats can involve tenure for many, many years.
The city has no deadline for moving the community. Meanwhile, AXA continues to develop its plans for the relocation of the runway.
My drome vir Blikkiesdorp is dat hulle vir mense properties en huise gee. Om in 'n straat te bly is vir my is dit vir die Here. My drome is dat Blikkiesdorp moet vir eens en vir altyd nie meer bly staan nie.
Al wat ons wil weet, wanneer gaan ons mense uit? Waar gaan ons mense huise kry? Waartoe gaan ons foreigners? Waartoe gaan die mense wat al klaar huise gehad het?
My mening is die city vir ons hier kon damp. Ne? So hulle moet so gaan ons almal hier uitneem. En ek wil hier soos hulle sê, ja, so city sê van die mense sê 3-5-7 jaar. Ek wil die 3-5-7 jaar nie. Dis mense wat al klaar 8 jaar bly. My ma bly nog 6 jaar hier, ne? Maar my ma is al 16 jaar op die waglys al. Ne? Hy is nog klaar 22 jaar. Ne? En plus nog 'n 7 jaar daarbij is 29 jaar. Een van die, as hy oor moet toemaak, hy sal sy mos nooit huis kan sien nie.
The immediate way forward is just that we need to mobilize to get unity in this game. Because if we can get that unity, then obviously we will have power. Blikkiesdorp already have a lot of power.
Baie mense is infek, nie net ons nie, tsunami, die skole, as jy dan nooit kyk, as maak die skole ook, want die is van hy vliegtuig kom hier 1 keer in 'n week, dan kom hy laag hier oor, maar ons sê vir die city, vlieg in jou moer in. Vlieg jy in jou moer in, met airport en al.
We know the residents need information to organise. Organisation can turn into action. Action can demand transparency and accountability from local government. So, what is to be done? We take step 1 and get organised. Then we take step 2 and get consensus on our demands. In step 3, we get more information. And in step 4, we engage.